काली कुछ समायुक्त माया पुरोगदेशः प्रणवार्थ प्रबोधिन्यं नमामि गुरुपादुके श्री मात्रे नमः श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः नमस्ते नमस्ते good evening to one and all. I am continuing with my second video on second part of the video. The first part got interrupted due to a call on the Shiva Sutras of Nithyanandha, and now as I was telling you, his twisting of the scriptures cannot go unchecked because of the simple reason that it is directly affecting his disciples and directly affecting the activities, the spiritual sadhana of their disciples. And I already told you that he is actually not teaching Shiva Sutras. What he is taking is Vignyan Bhairav Tantra. In his earlier videos, he has totally messed this up and he called them Shiva Sutras. In his later videos, he said these are Vignyan Bhairav, this is Vignyan Bhairav Tantra, and these are the sutras given by Shiva. This is what he is stating. This is how he made up his mistake. This is how he balanced out his mistake. And the next the video that I am going to deal with is what is called as the 35th Sutra, but it is not actually the 35th Sutra or anything like that. It is a part of the Tantra. It is a part of the technique. In that technique, Nithyananda is reading this out. He is telling Gadhadi Bhajane Drishtam Bindis Tyaktva Vinikshipete Tallayam Takshanat Gatva Tallayat Tanmayo Bhayete. This is the sloka that he is reciting. Now, the meaning that he is giving for this sloka is that look into the well, okay, or an abyss, and until wonderful. This is exactly what is the definition he is giving, and this is the definition that is there in Osho's website. Actually, there is no mention of the word will anywhere in this sloka. Let me tell you what this is. He is telling the problem is Gatadi or Gatadi. This is the difference. Gatadi has got no meaning, and Gatadi means pot-like vessels. How do we find that? Because Gata is gone. T-H-A. Ga, T-H-A. Gata is gone. And Ga, T-A. Gata is a pot. And the next word is Bhajane, which means vessel. So it is not Gata, which is gone. You cannot say vessels which are gone, but you can say vessels like pot. So the actual sutra is Gatavata Bhajane Drishtam Bindis Tyaktva Vinikshipete Tallayam Takshanat Gatva Tallayat Tanmayo Bhavete. Meaning Gatavata like a pot, Gata Avata like a pot, Bhajane vessels, vessels like pot, and then Drishtam looking into, Bindihi the dark spot, Tyaktva other than, Vinikshipet is ignored, Tallayam in that laya, in that oneness, Takshanat in that moment, Gatva having gone, Tallayat in that laya, Tanmayo you become one, Bhavete will happen. This is meaning looking into pot-like vessels into the dark spot and ignore the rest of the vessel. When you are in the laya or oneness with the pot, you will become one with the nothingness. This is the meaning of the sutra. Now, the meaning is one should fix his sight on the empty space inside the pot, leaving aside the enclosing structure. Thus, the pot being gone, the mind will at once be dissolved. This is how it has to be interpreted. Okay, so through that laya, the mind becomes completely absorbed into the void. This is the meaning. And while explaining this sutra, he is saying there are various kinds of people. Some people will get oriented with animals. Some people will get oriented with things. Like this, he is giving the Kannappar example, becoming one with the linga, which is actually Murti Pujana. Murti Pujana has got nothing with this Tantra. That has got nothing to do with the with the method that is being explained here. They are saying, look into a pot, into the darkness inside the pot. And when you forget that you are absolutely looking into the darkness, I mean, when you are forgetting the pot and when you are absolutely one with the darkness, your mind will become blank. This is the technique that is being taught here. And in this technique, the problem is he is saying you have to look into a well. And this mistake was previously done by Osho when he said looking into a well or an abyss. But he did not say a real well or a real abyss. He said that the nothingness inside the pot is like a well or an abyss. So he gave that as an example, and this fellow straight away plagiarized that example without understanding. And he is giving the example of Kannappar. Kannappar was a saint who worshipped Shivalinga, and he was a devout worshipper. And what he did was he one day Shiva wanted to play with him, so he wanted to test him and play with him. So what he did was there was suddenly like there were eyes sculptured out on the linga, and one of the eyes were bleeding. So Kannappa took his one eye and kept it on this eye, and the other eye started bleeding. So he kept his thumb on the on that bleeding spot for keeping a bookmark or something like that. And then he tried to take out his other eye. At that point of time, Shiva came and he gave him liberation. So this is the story. Now tell me, what does this story have to do with what he is speaking about here? First of all, he committed the mistake, utter error of saying well is same as the pot. There is no mention of the well anywhere, literally, in this entire sloka. If he knows Sanskrit or if he has read some proper translation, instead of simply going and plagiarizing Osho book about Shiva Sutras, he would have understood this concept. That is the problem here. He is taking concepts directly from Osho's book, directly from various other internet references, and he is simply stating them with the conviction that he knows the scriptures, that he has understood the scriptures. Nobody who has got, let alone an enlightened mind, at least an intelligent mind, will do it. If I am going to teach something to even my office training, I am training scholars. So even if I am going to teach my scholars and my writers, I will make sure that I am referring to the source material and I am having first-hand information about the source material. Without having this first-hand information about the source material, if you are teaching something, it means you are simply teaching for the heck of it. You really do not want to understand. You really do not want the persons opposite to you to understand. So what is explained here is Murti Upasana with the Kannappar story. And the technique itself is totally lost. There is a T sound and a TH sound difference which he did not understand. Okay, let us assume he took a printing error, a text with a printing error. Gatadi is there, he took that. But should he not refer this before teaching this to thousands of people who are taking him to be the only source of information? Should he not have that moral responsibility? He does not care for all these moral responsibilities because he simply wants to make money and he wants to create products which are his classes as soon as possible, with as little effort as possible, with absolutely no scholarly effort, with absolutely no research, with absolutely no care for the well-being of those who are learning from him. And he is simply saying that. And he is topping this one with a Lazu story from Osho. Osho tried to find parallels between Vignyan Bhairava Tantra and Lazu from Zen. He tried doing this. And when he tried doing this, he gave the example of the unmoving bridge and the moving river, and then the unmoving river and the moving bridge. So he is straight away telling that story. And most of his jokes fall flat. And while I am addressing this, I will also like to address one more thing. Previously, I was told that he is a great speaker. He speaks very well. He is a great orator. He is very good in speaking. But when I am often listening to his videos, I find that he is repeating himself. He is saying the same thing again and again. All of his jokes are falling flat because he is using inaccurate English words. He is very poor in English. He is using inaccurate English words. That is, if you do not have command over a language, then you cannot say jokes in that language. You cannot tell jokes in that language. It is as simple as that. If I try to make a Hindi joke, it will fall flat because I only know the language in a cursory manner. I do not know it sufficiently to joke in that language. So he is trying to make jokes in that language. He is using wrong words, and all of his jokes are falling flat. So it has to take an effort of the person who is listening to it in order to laugh for the jokes, and people are laughing because they are completely invested in him. And whatever he is telling has to be the Vedavak for them, has to be the only source of information for him, and that is how he is grooming. And repeating something again and again, two reasons are there. One is he is forgetting himself. He is not preparing sufficiently for what he is delivering. Another reason is brainwashing. When you say something again and again, it will sound like the truth to you. He himself is saying this, and immediately he is saying it is not brainwashing. In another video, he is saying that when I went to one Tibetan monastery, all this should be lies. Okay, as far as I know, he did not cross Chittur border before he became famous. So he is telling, I traveled India, I was a Parivarajika, all those things. And proven record is that he was studying in a polytechnic during that time. And immediate explanation that was given by the Nithyananda devotees is that he traveled in the astral plane all over India. That is, you simply want to, I am addressing you directly, Nithyananda slaves, I am addressing you directly. You simply want to safeguard his statements by lying however you want. You don't care for the truth. You are all in a mass hysteria scenario wherein you have to defend yourself. You have no other go. You have invested your life into it. And more than that, you are thinking that when somebody is speaking bad about Nithyananda, they are speaking bad about you. If I am criticizing Nithyananda, you think that I am criticizing you because you have identified yourself so much to him through his brainwashing, and now you are defending him through whatever means necessary. And this is why I am calling this as a toxic relationship. This is why I am calling this as a cult. And so when he is giving this bullshit about him being in the spiritual thing with the Tibetan monastery, he is saying, this one is with Kechari Mudra, that is another sutra which I will come to. He is saying, they kept on telling him, you are not the body, you are not the mind. And the moment he stopped protesting to this, telling, no, it is not so, that is the point of time when they started their initiation ceremony. Now, repeating something again and again until you lose the will to protest is what is a simple technique in making you a mind slave, in brainwashing you. This is a very simple technique. I will give you a statement. You listen to that statement over 700, 800 times. You repeat that statement inside you 700, 800 times. Your protesting will slowly become reduced. And at a point of time, you will be without resistance. And at that point of time, I will be able to indoctrinate you very, very easily. This is a technique that is being used by mind-washing and brainwashing cults all over the world. And Nithyananda Sangha is no exception to this. So what is happening here is he is telling, this one, you need to observe yourself into the well, and he is also saying you must be careful because you may fall into the well. The non-existent well, now the danger is being created that you may fall into the well. And finally, what was the practice that was given to the students in that class? They were given a photo of Nithyananda's eyes, and they were gazing into the eyes of Nithyananda, the picture of the eyes of Nithyananda, because he is telling Guru's eyes are like wells. They are very, very deep. So you want to gaze into something which is deep, so you can as well gaze into my eyes. This is complete misinterpretation and complete misinformation, and this is complete lazy research, and this is complete careless, irresponsible behavior on his part. First of all, there is no mention of a well in the sloka. Second thing is, these are not Shiva Sutras. You can call them Shiva Sutras if you want to, but these are not technically Shiva Sutras. This is Vignyan Bhairav Tantra, and he took up Vignyan Bhairav Tantra and he made it into Shiva Sutras. Later on, he took a technique which is not there, and finally he centered the technique upon himself. He centered the technique upon himself and he made him the center of worship once again. This is what he has done with this particular sutra. And then on March 19th, 2007 in Los Angeles, California, he is saying he has taken another sutra, and this sutra is Karatrudda Drukarasthrena Brugodate Dwararodanate Drishte Bindau Kramaline Tanmanye Paramastitihi. So this is the sutra number, this is the shloka number 36 in the Vignyan Bhairava Tantra, and he is taking this up. And the meaning of this is, by using the hands, block the entrances in all directions. The eyebrow center is pierced and the bindu or light is seen. Being gradually observed within that, the supreme state is realized. Now, here he is saying all sorts of nonsense. First of all, what is explained here is what is called as the Kechari Mudra. And the Kechari Mudra goes like this. This is the Kechari Mudra. That is, you are covering your nose, you are covering your ears, you are covering your eyes, and you are covering your lips. So by covering these things, covering all of the ways in which air can go into your head, you are actually creating a void inside the head. You are creating a pressure in this region. Very simple. And please understand, I am not teaching yoga to anybody. You cannot practice what I am teaching in my videos directly, because I am not teaching this as a class. I will not teach this as a class because I myself am a practicing yogi, and you have to learn this from a proper yogi practitioner who is not a self-centered piece of shit like Nithyanandha. And please, if at all you want to practice, you can practice like this. Very simple thing. When you are doing this, okay, first thing that will happen is you will start hearing the noise of the air that is happening inside your ear. So that itself will be like a huge ocean-like noise at the start of the Kechari Mudra. Slowly the noise will start to subside, and you will be creating a pressure here inside, from the point inside your throat, from your inner tongue, all the way till here. You will be creating a kind of a needle-like air gap, needle-like pressure there. So in order to simply understand this, just close your nose and try to breathe out. Close your nose and close your eyes and try to breathe out. Your ears will pop. And when your ears are popping, you will feel the air pressure happening in this entire region. And when this air pressure is happening in this entire region, at a point of time, you will notice that this air pressure is actually centered between the straight line that is between your inner tongue and your eyebrows. So that is called as the piercing. That single needle of air, that pathway that is going, is called as the piercing. There is a close connection between the ending point of the ear canal inside here and the inner throat starting point of the esophagus here, and the brumadhya, that is the center point of your eyebrows. So there is a connection between these points, and this point, air pressure, if it is applied, then it will open what is called as your third eye. Now this is called as Kechari Mudra, and that is the mudra that is explained here. That is Kara Ruddaha Drudastrena, meaning using the hands, covering all the other pathways of air. Bru Bodat, in the middle, Bru Bedat, in the point that which is separating the eyebrows. Bru Bedat, in this point. Dwara Rodanat, you are piercing that spot. You are piercing that spot. It is called as dwara. It is called as a dwara or a opening, because it is the opening to jnana. So dwara bodhanate, sorry, dwara rodhanate, drushte bindau. Then you will see the bindu. And what is the bindu? If you consider this 7 chakras as the 7 steps of the Sri Chakra, then the bindu is at this point. You will see the bindu. When this piercing is happening from inside, you will see the bindu. Drishte bindau kramallino tanmanye paramastitihi. So when this is done by krama, when this is properly done, you will attain tanmanye. When you become one with this, when you are doing this with krama, and when you are becoming one with this, you will attain the paramastiti, the supreme stage. So this is the actual meaning of this sutra. And here Nithyananda is taking examples of body piercing, all the body piercing rituals that are happening, and he is also telling another old grandmother's tale from Osho once again. And that tale is that you will be put in, when you are in a certain state of consciousness, when you are in a certain state of awareness, this point will become softer and softer, and you will be able to insert a wooden rod into this. This is ridiculous. Actually, Osho is stating this in order to say this is ridiculous, and this fellow is stating this as a truth. In fact, he is narrating a personal incident that has happened to him, it seems. That is, he went to Tibet, and a bell was on his head, it seems. They were covering him with a bell. And after covering him with a bell, they started beating the bell with a wooden stick. And he started feeling the vibration like needles all through his body. 12 hours he was like that. And then they took off the bell and they poked his eyebrow with a rod. It went in 1 inch, it went in. This is the story that he is telling. If that has happened, he will be dead of skull fracture. If that really would have happened, I will not be making this video here. Nithyananda or Rajashekhar's Samadhi will be there in Tibet. Actually, nothing of that sort had happened. Because first, this is the, and what is the proof? Once again, he does not understand basic reality. Have you ever seen a Tibetan bell? When he is speaking about bell, he is speaking about this kind of a structure which will cover your body. But actually in Tibet, these kinds of bell do not exist. Their bell is a cup. I have a Tibetan bell. I'll show that in another video. So I have a small Tibetan bell which I use for my own kriyas. So that bell will be like a cup. If at all you have to be covered by the cup and you have to rub the rim of the cup. If at all you have to be covered by the cup, you have to sit inside the cup. They cannot cover you with a cup and they cannot put a hole in it. All of these things are ridiculous nonsense. Physics, according to physics, if there is a hole in the bell, the noise that they are trying to make around the bell will not happen. He is confusing between the Vajra and the Kanta. There are two instruments there. One is called as a Vajra and another one is called as a Kanta. Okay, he is confusing between these two instruments and he is simply creating a cock and bull story out of this. And this cock and bull story, he is saying piercing happens like this, and he is also comparing this piercing to the piercing that is being done for the purpose of sacrifice. Like all these alagu kutudal, it's called as, they will put a trishul or a veil into your tongue or into your eyebrows. All of these things will happen. So he is comparing this to this. And now problem is he is also narrating another incident in this video. He is saying he had a yogi who was beyond the physical, and what he used to do is he used to create noises. For example, if he wants to kill a bird, he will create the noise from his throat of a stone hitting a bird, and that bird will fall down dead. If he wants to break a rock, he will make the noise of a hammer on a rock, and the hammer will break, and the rock will break. So while saying this, he is saying, people used to ask me when I narrate this story, when I give this example, Swamiji, why don't you do that and show us? I will say, by using, I will say, why break the stone with a sound? Why not use a hammer? This was the statement he is making in this video. He is saying, when he is being asked, Swami, you are telling that you met a yogi with this siddhi. And according to them, he has got every siddhi possible in the world. Nithyananda is the storehouse of all the siddhis, all the jnana, everything in the world. So why don't you demonstrate this to us? So his answer was, why break the stone with a sound? Why not use a hammer? Now I am asking all of you Nithyananda disciples, why not push the coconut with your hand? Why are you using your third eye for doing that? Why not refer to a horoscope as the proper method? Or why not try to use some cold reading for predicting the future? Why not use logical analysis for predicting the future? Why are you using Akashic records? So he has, at the starting point, he was like, siddhis are not going to help you. But after that, he found out that these siddhis, these magical shows are actually bringing him money, and he started calling them as Shaktis. This is one more compromise that he wantonly did to fool people, and this is sheer nonsense. And here he is narrating another famous Zen story, and in this Zen story he is mixing words like hell, and he is mixing, he is saying hand at one time, he is saying finger at one time, and he is spoiling the entire story for you. But you would have heard that story outside, so you will be able to relate and you will be able to understand. The story is this. There was one Zen master. He is telling Buddha. Actually, it is not Buddha. It is one Zen master. So that Zen master, he used to raise his finger like this whenever he is speaking. So his disciples started speaking like this. But he is telling, Buddha was doing like this to say, we will win, we will win. And his students also started saying, we will win, we will win. This is sheer nonsense, because this symbol of winning came from the Romans. This symbol for winning came from the Romans in the gladiatorial fights, according to the symbol. I'm sorry, according to the gesture records, this symbol came from the Romans. How can Buddha do this? This is sheer nonsense. The story actual, so what happened was his students were doing this, and one student was doing this, and Buddha cut off his hand with a sword, and then he got enlightened because he also cut off his ego. This is how he is narrating the story. I will tell you the actual story and tell me which one makes sense. This story I read from Osho, and the same story was repeated by Sadhguru Jagi Vasudev as well. Okay, he is also plagiarizing a lot. I don't want to speak about that at this point of time, because at least his sadhana is genuine. So what is happening here is, this fellow is, this guru used to speak like this, show there and speak. Okay, so his disciples were also doing this. So he wanted to stop this, and what he did was he cut off that fellow's finger when one fellow was doing like this. So he lost this imitation and he attained enlightenment. And so he is using this story, Nithyananda is using this story for a different purpose. He is saying, whatever your guru is doing to you, it will be very, very painful for you, but you have to tolerate it because your guru knows the best. And by indoctrinating his students, his disciples, his slaves into this logic, he has abused them, and his disciples are accepting that abuse, thinking that this pain, this suffering, this sexual abuse, this physical abuse, this verbal abuse, and this day in and day out slave labor is going to help me spiritually. This is what he is indoctrinating by this story. So whatever story he is telling, whatever scriptures you are using, whatever scriptures he is using, they are first of all wrong, idiotic. He does not have very good speaking ability either. He is a lousy speaker, and he is a lousy orator. He is a lousy scholar. He is a lazy fellow who does not want to do research. He will simply take up anything that catches his eyes. He will simply say it is his own experience, and that too he will not deliver properly. All of his jokes will fall flat. Whatever anecdote he is telling, he will totally mess up the anecdote, and it is the mind of the listener that which is making sense out of this anecdote and thinking, wow, what he is stating is great. So this preset notion that whatever he is speaking is great is being inculcated into you before the notion itself happens. Sorry, before the speech itself happens. So when you listen to him, you will have the bias that what he is speaking is great, and you will try to accept it. That is the trick that he is playing on you, and that is the trick that is working, because you are essentially accepting what he is speaking is great as a student, as a disciple of Nithyananda. So this fraud, what he is doing is, he is giving you bullshit, he is giving you meaningless information, he is giving you roundabout information, and he is giving you techniques which are always centered on him, and he is making a fool of you if you are following him. I will take up more of his Shiva Sutras, I will take up more of his classes, and I will tell you three basic things on that. First thing is how they are scripturally wrong. How he is not only misinterpreting, wanton misinterpretation is one thing, and also erroneous misinterpretation is second thing. He is full of errors, and at times he is doing it wantedly. Whatever anecdotes he is giving about himself, they are complete and utter falsehoods, and they are complete and utter cock and bull stories. Those things could not have happened. And the third thing that he is stating about, the third thing is, whatever anecdotes he is giving, whatever stories he is giving, whatever parables he is giving, he is trying to twist them to his ends, to his nefarious ends, and in order to gain the maximum slavery out of you. I will continue this in another part after listening to some other Shiva Sutras, and I am going through the pains of listening to nonsense in order to inform that to you. So please go through the pain of sharing this information so that it will reach many people. Thank you. दच्चम योरा प्रणीमहे गातुम यज्ञाय गातुम यज्ञपतये दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तुनः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगातु वेषजं शन्नो अस्तु जुगते संचतुष्पते ओम शांति 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 नमः सरसे मात्रे नमः।